Welcome to the webinar contest at EVV CON. We're here to elevate the value of virtual. And one of the ways we do that is by giving speakers an opportunity to demonstrate in a contest their mastery of the virtual stage in an event that was specifically designed for the virtual stage and where they are allowed to use any online razzle dazzle that they might like within reason, as long as it adds to the content of their presentation. And the judges will be judging on how effective it is at creating real engagement with an online audience, which is the challenge. And we've asked Mike Carr, the 2020 World Champion of Public Speaking, who knows something about this topic, to say a few words to kick us off. Mike.
Oh, thank you again for letting me be a part of your group and to just say a couple of things before a contest. It really is interesting. You know, earlier we were talking about that balance between things, and Andrew in our breakout session brought up the idea of Steve Jobs and what Apple has accomplished. And one thing that a concept that Steve Jobs talked a lot about is that in our modern world, we have to find that balance between cooperation and competition. That much of human history, we were trying to find that balance, but there's something about competition that I have experienced myself and that you contestants are experiencing today, and I'm sure have experienced even before. There's something about competition that just puts a little bit of an edge there. In our human history, so much of our growth and the creativity and innovation has come whenever there is competition in the air. And so thank you for coming out and plying your trade, bringing your piece of art in a competitive environment. It creates this ecosystem that allows to make it as good as it possibly can be. And you'll see things today that when you walk away, you'll say, oh, I wish I'd done that, or I could have done that, and you'll add it on and make it even better. But in a virtual space, the great thing about that is that we can, in a second, broaden that competitive edge around the world. Many of you have seen that already today. Some of the best ideas come in from Australia and from the United States and from Italy and from England and from so many other places. That broad competition, that broad community, the mashup of all that, it helps us create a message that really can change those who are meant to hear what we have to say. So thank you, contestants, today. I'm really excited to see what you bring, the pieces of art. I'm excited to borrow some of your ideas, if that's okay. You're welcome to borrow any of mine. But thank you for competing in this medium, and then also stretching the bonds of this medium a little bit to bring in ways of engagement with the audience. I'm really excited to see what you bring. Thank you.
All right, excellent, Mike. Now it is time for me to introduce the man who is going to run the show, our contest master, Lou Brown. Lou Brown, take it over.
Thank you, Mr. Carr and Mr. Carr. I couldn't agree more. This has been such a wealth of talent and showcasing of skills. I know I probably speak for everyone else here who has witnessed all of this great talent that we aspire to be just like all of you professional speakers. It's an excellent thing to aspire to be. A little bit of housekeeping before we officially begin. Please give your full attention to the contestants while they are speaking and mute your audio. There will be a minute of silence at the beginning and between each speaker to allow the judges, to first allow our first contestants to stage himself, and then to allow the judges to complete their ballots. At the end of the last speaker, there will be a 3-minute silence after all speakers have finished to allow the judges to tally their votes. Our chief judge for our unique webinar contest is Lillian Cook. Please welcome Lillian Cook, and I will ask her if all of the contestants, assistants, judges, etc., have all been briefed on our special webinar contest rules.
Yes, Mr. Contest Master. This is Lillian Cook, your chief judge, and all of the contest officials have been briefed. And we will be using a special virtual judging platform today. And so that's why we will only need about 3 minutes after the final speaker to tally all of our ballots. So thank you very much. Everyone has been briefed, so let the contest begin.
Wonderful, thank you. And I understand
I'm gonna call Vicky. I'm gonna schedule a one-on-one meeting with her in private.
I think we need a little muting. Thank you. Okay, I understand our tech team will be auto-pinning the timer, who is Mr. Larry Miller. If any of you do not see that going on, just look for Mr. Miller and he will be timing your presentation. Okay, folks, let the contest begin. The speaking order for our contest is as follows. Contestant number 1, Paul Omani. Contestant number 2, Andy Colborn. Contestant number 3, Angela Heath. Contestant number 4, Mariana Misakian. Contestant number 5, Julian Cereceda. We will now have a 1-minute moment of silence to allow Paul to prepare himself.
Contest Chair, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, actually, before he begins, Larry Miller, could you speak up just so I can find you in the...
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Okay. I'm just trying to...
Big timing clock.
Just trying to get the timing clock to where everybody's going to be able to see it.
You're going to pin us side by side?
No, we were trying to put it at just the top of the order. Okay, I apologize for the interruption. Folks should see Larry as the first little tile displayed, and so the speakers should be able to keep that in view. I'm sorry, back to you, Mr. Contest Master.
Thank you, sir. Wonderful. Actually, that took all of 1 minute, so perfect. Okay, Paul, just to confirm again, please conduct a quick mic check.
Quick mic check.
Thank you, sir. And are you comfortable with your video framing?
Yes, I am comfortable with my video framing. I cannot see the timer.
That was my next question. Are you able to see the timer? I believe when you share screen, the timer should automatically appear at the top or to the right.
Okay.
David Carr, non-evil twin, can you confirm that?
Okay, I'm sorry. Do you have some of the little squares, square images displayed on the side of your screen or at the top of your screen? The timer should be the first one. And it says timer and it has a little clock icon.
Yeah, I'll manage the time. Thanks.
Okay.
Very good. Contestant number 1, Paul Omani, the 3-minute poem. The 3-minute poem, Paul Omani.
There once was a Toastmaster called Joe, who delivered a speech much too slow. 6 judges fell asleep. 1 fell in a heap, and the chief judge called for espresso. Toastmasters, I am your poet today, and I'd like you all to open up your screens so that I can look deep into your soul and see whether there's a poet residing inside. I bring you today an opportunity to re-engage with your poetic self. I want you please to think back to when you were at school, and please put up your hands, all those of you who detested poetry at school. Wonderful. There are some honest people here. And tell me, of those of you who liked poetry at school, how many of you have written poetry? Yes, you see, that's the problem with poetry. It's not a great experience, but today, I promise you, a great experience because you're going to be a poet. I've brought along a book and a pen, and I'm going to get you to write a poem. And I've called this session, as has already been called out, the 3-minute poem. I would like you to write things in the chat. Of course, you know, I want to get this engagement going so that your brain will be moving. And so what you need is one of these, a notebook, a pen, or piece of paper, so as to be able to write. So the 3-minute poem. Hands up, all those of you who now have got a pen. Oh, wonderful, Michelle. Thank you very much. That's lovely. It's great to see that you're right on the ball there. And thank you, Adrienne. Thank you very much. Lovely. That's plenty of you now. There's even a book about this whole topic, and the book is called You Too Could Write a Poem. Can we agree that this is a poem? The owl and the pussycat went to sea in a beautiful pea green boat. You know it. Please write yes in the chat if you know that poem. The owl and the pussycat went to sea in a beautiful pea green boat. Write yes. In fact, write why if yes is too long a word. Lovely. This is a poem. And the reason I say this is a poem is because, as you can see it on the screen, the words do not go right from the beginning to the end of the line. And that's the only thing that makes poetry different from prose. Poems do not fill the whole of the line. So, for example, this is a version of the earlier poem, The Dog and the Teddy Bear. The Dog and the Teddy Bear. I am going to stop sharing now. I want to see what I have in the chat because this is the most important thing. Please start to write a poem and begin your poem with that word "the." And write 3 words, please. All of you who are going to be poets today, write 3 words. And those of you who are really, really courageous, put your 3 words in the chat. Fantastic. I see there the stars shine, the world champion speaker, the ostentatious sun hat. Fantastic. The rabbit came. Now, will you write another 3 words underneath it? Any 3 words that you think reveal something about yourself, the way you see the world. Fantastic. So I now see the light glowing, dogs breathing air around my garden faster than speech. This is fabulous. This is great. Oh, you know what? You guys are fabulous. Now, one last time, please. We'll have 3 more words. In fact, look, let me say 4 or 5. Oh, this is terrific. This is terrific. Now, will you please unmute yourselves? I'm going to ask somebody to read their poem. I'm going to ask somebody to read out their poem. Please unmute yourselves, poets. Let me just ask, let me see, Andrew Bennett. Andrew Bennett, please read your 3-line poem.
Hi there, Paul. Here it goes. The light glowing catches my vision, causing my breath to stop.
Oh, wow. Applaud him, please. Now, everybody unmute yourselves. And what I want you to do, at the same time, all speak your own poem. Let's have a cacophony of verse. 1, 2, 3, go.
The day was
above
I had
me,
those who are dreaming life and
Just
it does not bother anyone because they
want
were
to see the beach. On the sand he walked.
That is just terrific. Will you please applaud yourselves? You are now a poet today. You are the ones who have revealed something of yourself, because that's what a poem does. A poem gets you to reveal something of yourself. And you know what you need in order to become a poet. And this is my message for you to take away. You need to simply give yourself the authority. Give yourself the authority to be a poet. And that makes you a poet. Thank you all very, very much. I am going to copy this chat and publish everything you've written. Thank you very much.
We will now have 1 minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballots. Timer, please give us the red flag at the 1 minute mark. Contestant number 2, Andy Colborn, please conduct a mic check, sir.
Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Wonderful, we can hear you. Are you comfortable with your video framing?
1 moment, please. Yep, all good.
Wonderful, and are you able to see the timer?
Yep.
Contestant number 2, Andy Colborn, making leisure time more meaningful. Making leisure time more meaningful, Andy Colborn.
Thank you. Well, yes, as the subject says, I'm going to be talking to you about making leisure time more meaningful. Now, it is important that all of us have some leisure time in our lives. If we're just working, it's not really going to be very productive for a long and happy life. It's important that we have time to come down, relax a bit, and unwind at the end of each day. And one of the ways in which a lot of people do unwind at the end of each day is simply through watching television. Now, I'm not here at all to criticize watching television. It can be a really good way to do that unwinding, to really transport yourself off into another storyline, another environment, and get away from your daily grind. but there's a lot of people who actually work in television. And what I'd like to do now is really give you an insight into what's happening behind the scenes to enable you to be a little bit grateful when you're watching TV. So you can think about the people who are working there. Now, I'm going to start off by actually asking you to communicate a little bit in the chat, please. And so I'm going to ask you to write in, what is your favorite TV show? Now, I'm not going to take everyone's, but if you could just put in the chat, please, what is your favorite TV show? See, the first one's already in there. Shark Tank, Criminal Minds, Frasier, bit old school comedy. The Apprentice, Murder, She Wrote, Yesminster. I like Yesminster. That's a very good one. Well, yes, there's lots of different TV shows that we all like. And I'm going to show you now a screenshot from actually one of my favorite TV shows, which, as it happens, is coming on the air right now. But could you, again, in the chat, please tell me, what do you think this is called? Yep, someone guessing that it's BBC Sport. Yes, Graham Cairns was the first one to get it. It is called Match of the Day, and it's basically a show that talks about football or soccer, if you're from the west of the Atlantic. And it basically shows highlights of the games that happened in the English Premier League on that day. So personally, I support Arsenal. And I know that Arsenal played today. Please don't put any results in the chat, because when I watch Match of the Day, I really like to cut myself off from the outside of the world. I don't look at WhatsApps. I don't look at any websites. I try not to check my emails. And I really keep myself isolated so I don't know what's going to happen on Match of the Day. When I watch the highlights, it might be hard to imagine, but my mind is empty. There's nothing in there. And I'm really enjoying the tension of the game and really getting into it and not knowing what's going to happen until we get to the end of that segment. But if we think about a live show where you have a studio guests and a presenter who are working there, and if we imagine it's being presented live, then again, I'm going to ask you in the chat to answer some questions. Which people do you think are necessary to produce a show like this? So, yep, first one, producer, presenters. It's good. Host, kind of like presenters. Sound, yep. Content creation. Yep. Video technicians. Camera people, yep. Scripts, yes. See, someone obviously has some experience working in TV. Executive producers. Directors. Yeah, that's probably going to give us enough there. So we have lots of different people who are working on a show. And actually, if we think about the work they're doing, they're all communicating with each other. It can be a very stressful environment because if you're live, things have to go on time. You have to really get all the cues right, and all the different video clips have to match up with what's just been said by the presenter. And it really is a stressful environment. And actually, while you're having your leisure time, you're at home sitting on the sofa, maybe enjoying a glass of wine, there are people who are working and they're under stress and they're not working in the evenings. They're working unsociable hours. So I'd really encourage you, when you are having your leisure time, whether that's watching TV or maybe doing something else, is just think about the people that are working in the background. Maybe it's the cameraman, maybe it's the director, maybe it's the audio engineer that enables you to hear what's going on. Maybe it's the comms engineer who's actually making it possible for all these people to talk with each other. But there's a whole army of people out working behind the scenes. They make all this thing possible. They make it possible for you to unwind, to relax at the end of the day. And so when you are enjoying that time, that's my task for you to do. Please think about these people and just be grateful. You don't need to show your appreciation, but just think of them and be grateful for what they do, enabling you to have a little bit of leisure time for yourself. Thank you very much. And Mr. Contest Master, back over to you.
We will now have 1 minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballots. Timers, please give us the red light at 1 minute. Contestant number 3, Angela Heath, please conduct a mic check. I do not hear you. Does anyone else hear?
Check 2, check 3.
There we go. Thank you. Are you comfortable with your video framing?
Yes, I am.
And are you able to see the timer?
Yes, I am.
Contestant number 3, Angela Heath. Who wants to live to 100? Who wants to live to 100? Angela Heath.
Hello, everybody, and tell me right away, who wants to be 100 years old? Raise your hand, raise your virtual hand and raise it up high. Who wants to be 100? I see some people are raising their hand, but many people are not. And I know why. I know why, because you don't believe me. You don't believe it's possible to live to be 100 and be happy and healthy. Well, what if I told you today in this webinar, I am going to give you the secret to living to be 100, happy and healthy. We're going to do it through a game called Live to be 100. I'm your trainer, Angela Heath with TKC Incorporated. Now, in order to live to be 100, there are a few things you need to understand. Let's start with this first question. Who do you think is more likely to live to be 100? I want you to light the chat box up with your responses. Is it 3 women? They weigh 100 and they're 167 centimeters, 5.5 inches, and they weigh A, B, or C. You've got someone a little frail, you've got someone medium, and you've got someone who's a little pleasantly plump. I see many of you are saying A. Sarah says A. Abby says A. Adrian said B. So it's between A and B. I believe many of you have been listening to my webinars before. It is A. It is the woman who some of us would consider a little more frail. So if you're like me, I'm one of the pleasingly plump people. It's time to shed those extra pounds. Now, what about these 2 guys? Which one of them would be more likely to live to 100? You've got Lazy Pants over there. It's midday and he's taking a nap. And you've got Mr. Go-Getter. His boss loves him. He does everything before it's due. Who are you voting for? Mr. Go-Getter is getting a lot of votes. Mr. Go-Getter, neither. Lazy Pants, says Nicola. Who else? Who are you voting for? Lazy Pants, Adrian. I see quite a few of you are voting for Lazy Pants, but actually you can only vote for one person, and it seems to be split. Mr. Lazy Pants. And let me tell you why. In the nations where people tend to take siestas in the middle of the day, they have less heart disease. So tell your boss you need a break midday. Now, this is easy. Everybody should get this. Which one of these nations has more centenarians? Is it Australia, Japan, or the US? Graham says right away, Angela, it's Japan. Everybody's saying Japan, Japan, Japan. I told you this was an easy bonus question. Everybody's getting it right. Andy said Italy and Adrian said US. Interesting. Last question. Angry people. I want you to put a Y or an N in chat if you think angry people tend to live to be 100. You know these people. These are the people when they're in traffic, they're so uptight, they're uptight, and they are bam, 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 bamming on the window and bam, bam, bamming on their horn. These people, almost everybody got it, are not likely to live to be 100. Let me tell you why. When you're angry, your body is tense, your blood vessels constrict, and your heart has to beat much faster and harder. So please chill out. Now, this whole exercise is based on something that's scientifically proven. It's called New Start. And I'm teaching you this one time, and I promise you, you'll never forget it. Each one of these letters stands for behavior that we want to adopt. And if you want more information, I have provided the link for you in this webinar. N is for nutrition. Basically, cut back on sugar, stay away from processed foods, and eat more fruits and vegetables. E for exercise. You only need to walk 30 minutes a day and find some things around your house to lift to strengthen your bones. W is for water. You need 1/2 your body weight in water every day. S for sunshine. Only 15 minutes a day and your body can manufacture its own vitamin C. No more pills for that. T is for temperance. Moderation in everything. A for air. Go outside and breathe in deep every day. Rest. Don't burn the candle at both ends. What I mean is don't stay up late and go to bed late. T for trust. Everything will be fine. Now listen, here's something that most of you probably don't know. 80% of what you worry about will never happen. If you don't believe me, look it up. Now, there are places in the country called blue zones where people tend to live to be 100. Japan, Italy, Costa Rica, Greece, and the US. But before you pack your bags, you need to know what city in each one of these countries tend to have more centenarians. If you want to know exactly where you should move to, put more in chat. Put more in chat if you want me to give you that information. Sean says, give me more, Angela. Sandra, give me more. People want to pack their bags and go to the right place. Now listen, guys, if you start practicing a New Start life, you will live to be 100 and you will be healthy and happy. So let's take this poll again. How many of you want to live the New Start life and live happy and healthy? Raise your hand and raise it high because you can do it if you start today. And here's the surprise. Here's the big surprise. When you turn 100, I'm coming to your birthday party, and the present is an all-expense trip to Hawaii for you and all of your 100-year-old friends. This is Angela Heath challenging you, live, new, start. Back to you, contest master.
We will now have 1 minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballots. Timer, please give us the red light at 1 minute. Contestant number 4, unfortunately, is unable to be with us today. We will proceed to contestant number 5. Julian Cereceda, please conduct a mic check.
Hello, hello, hello.
Wonderful. Are you comfortable with your video framing?
I am indeed. Thank you.
And are you able to see the timer?
I am.
Contestant number 5, Julian Cereceda, successful hybrid meetings. Successful hybrid meetings, Julian Cereceda.
Hi. Make sure you select the speaker view for a better experience. Have your smartphone close by and your QR code ready. You will need it. At the beginning, we have physical meetings. Then we move to online meetings and we discover that the attention spans were short, very short. Now we have hybrid meetings, and if we thought that online meetings were challenging, that's because we didn't know anything about hybrid meetings. Here, we have to coordinate participants in the room and remote participants. Crazy. So, is it worthy to organize a hybrid meeting? I know, you know, that nobody knows how to run a successful hybrid meeting. Well, no anybody, but many people don't know how to run it. If you do, you can open new opportunities. At work, you could become the person to go. In your business, you could save money and time with those meetings. And if you have a community club, you could decrease your marketing efforts and increase your quality leads. You know that if somebody has been online and shows up in your room, is a good lead. But is it worthy to run such an hybrid event? I am Julian Cereceda, and I believe that anyone, absolutely anyone, can plan and run a successful hybrid meeting. In fact, it only needs to follow these 5 main points. You can see, I'm the person in that audience speaking in front of a hybrid audience. I have run dozens, if not hundreds, of these events, and I created as well a video course, Successful Hybrid Meetings. Here in this video course, I state that anyone, absolutely anyone, can plan and run a successful hybrid meeting. But enough about me. What about you? What out of these 5 main areas do you think is the most challenging in a hybrid meeting? As you can see on the screen, there is a QR code. And if you don't have a QR code reader, on the chat, there will be a link. Both the QR code and the link will take you to Mentimeter. This is a website where you can see the question. Select up to 2 options, and then we can speak about the most voted option. One thing I want to make clear, it's not all about technology. We have seen, in fact, how big corporations and big organizations have failed to deliver engaging hybrid meetings because, honestly, we don't know how to talk in front of a live audience and to the camera at the same time. Now, I hope that you guys have already voted, and if not, keep going. Let's see how you are doing. Anything coming there? Okay, I can see that many of you are voting for audio. And let me tell you something. I could not agree more with you. Audio is probably one of the most challenging parts in a hybrid meeting. However, as I say, it's not all about technology. Now, if we were running a 1-hour webinar, I will go and speak about how we can improve our audio quality. But this is a teaser. This is a short webinar where time is short and runs fast. For that reason, if you want to know more about how to improve your audio quality, I encourage you to join my video course, Successful Hybrid Meetings. Here, I do not only talk about how to improve your audio, I give a lot of tips, tricks, and techniques that will make your hybrid meetings unique. Another thing is short and to the point. And for those of you who find my sexy Spanish accent too sweet for your taste, it comes with captions, so you can focus in what really matters. And the best of all is that it's free. Yes, you only need to give me your name and your email address. Here, if you scan the QR code, you will go to a website where you can leave me the name and email. On the chat, you can find the link if you don't have a QR code reader. Within 24 hours, I will send you an email with 2 ways of getting this video course, Successful Hybrid Meetings, free. I hope we can keep in touch.
We will now have 3 minutes of silence for the judges to mark their ballots. Everyone, let's give our contestants a big round of applause, either virtually through the reaction button or feel free to unmute.
Woohoo!
Great job, everyone. Woohoo!
Good job.
Okay, while we are waiting for the results to be tallied, let's get to know our contestants a bit more. Mr. Paul Omani, you're up first, sir. Where do you currently reside and what is your home? Oh, before I begin, let me state that each of these questions will give you 1 to 2 minutes. We like to stick to timing, so that's critical. So feel free to pin the timer. Otherwise, I guess I will ask the timer to put 1 to 2 minutes on the clock, or 2 minutes on the clock. Okay, let's get back to the questions. Mr. Paul Omani, where do you currently reside and what is your home Toastmasters club?
I live in Cork, Ireland, and my home club is Blarney Toastmasters, where the Blarney Stone is.
Wonderful. And now, what kind of work do you do, and how has your online communication and presentation education improved your business, your profession, or your career?
I am a marketeer. I'm a branding person, and I help companies connect by realizing what they're doing. What has it helped me to run my business? I'm not really a video guy at all. I'm an audio person. So I write. I'm a copywriter. So I'm a fish out of water here.
Okay. There certainly are a lot of fish out of water when it comes to this new online environment that we got thrown into. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Next up, contestant 2, Mr. Andy Colborn.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Wonderful. Same question, sir. Where do you currently reside and what is your home Toastmasters club?
I live in a country called Luxembourg. It really is a country, not just a region of Germany, as some people think. My Toastmasters club is Toastmasters Without Borders, so it's a purely online club.
Wonderful. And what kind of work do you do, and how has your online communication and presentation education improved your job or career?
My job is the training manager for an electronics communications company. So I spend a lot of my working days teaching people, often, like certainly over the last 2 years online, how to make complicated electronic black boxes function. So since learning how to do things online, we've really improved in terms of adding interactivity and giving people mouse-on experience of how to program the devices and how to play with them, get them set up working as they should, which, yeah, has been a very steep learning curve.
Sounds like some training that I could use myself. So thank you for that, Paul. Andy. Okay, contestant number 3, Angela Heath. Where do you currently reside, and what is your home Toastmasters club?
Hello, everybody. I currently reside in College Park, Maryland, which is right outside of Washington, D.C.
And what is your home Toastmasters club?
Oh, I'm sorry. My home club is Online Presenters. It's an advanced level online only club.
Wonderful, thank you. Now, what kind of work do you do, and how has your online communication education improved your profession or career?
Well, online education helps me a lot. I am a trainer also and a speaker. So I use many of the things that I learned through the various clubs to improve what I do for clients. So it's in my blood, and I love the virtual space.
Wonderful, thank you very much. Last but not least, Mr. Julian Cereceda. Where do you currently reside, sir? And what is your home Toastmasters club?
If you like football or soccer, Manchester United, I live just in front of the stadium, Manchester, United Kingdom. My club is Digital Communicators. An online
Wonderful.
club.
Awesome. And what kind of work do you do? And how has your online education improved what you do?
All right. I have 2 jobs. One of them is full-time daddy. Yes, that's a good job. And the other one is Amazon picker, which, to be honest, Toastmaster has not helped me a lot. But that's not helped me a lot because I'm a full-time daddy. And that requires a lot of patience, a lot of communication, no doubt.
Oh, I agree. 100%. Thank you, sir. Okay. Madam Chief Judge Lillian Cook, are you back with us, ma'am? Okay, sounds like they still have some more work to do. Does anyone have any questions themselves of our contestants, perhaps based on the material they presented, that you would like to ask of them? Feel free to put that in the chat. We'll take your questions. And I guess I'll ask our contestants to kind of monitor that chat. Hopefully they'll put the name next to the question. Okay, I'll start. Mr. Omani.
Yes, sir.
At what age, how early in life did you begin to write poems?
45.
Oh, okay, I would have expected much sooner than that. Okay. And
well, I'm one of these people who couldn't stand poetry at school. And then when I left poetry, I was more involved in politics. So I thought poets were away with the fairies.
Okay, awesome. I see a question that is certainly for Miss Angela Heath. What cities have the most longevity? I'm not sure if they still qualify for that Hawaii trip if they ask through the chat as opposed to sending you an email.
Yeah, there was one question in the chat. What happens? They're 30 years old and they live to be 100. How old will I be? Don't worry about that. I'll be there to give you your Hawaii tickets.
Very good. Awesome. Thank you for that. And thank you for the question in the chat. Oh, you know what? We have one last question for anyone. And you know what? We'll have Andy take this one. How did your speech evolve through various levels of presentation from the club level all the way to here? Andy.
To be honest, there wasn't all that much evolution. I did find that it started off far too long and I needed to cut it down. And so I did take bits out and chop. But yeah, other than that, it's fairly close to its original form, if I'm honest.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. I see our chief judge is back in the room. We will, before we actually announce the winners, I just would like to thank everyone that was involved with this contest for their time, their effort, their participation. Our timers, Larry Miller, and I believe we have a backup timer. My apologies. I feel free to shout out your name because I don't have it written down.
Diane Rodriguez, isn't it?
Yes, Diane Rodriguez.
There it is. Diane Rodriguez. Thank you. Wonderful. Our contest chair, who interestingly asked me to help with contest chairing, yet I did nothing, so I assume he did everything, and that is our EVV CON host himself, Mr. David Carr. Thank you for your assistance. Of course, our chief judge, Lillian Cook, and all of the anonymous judges who I'm sure had a lot of difficulty judging this contest. Everyone was so spectacular and amazing. Madam Chief Judge, when you are ready to share your screen, please do so.
In third place, we have Andy Colborn. Yay, Andy. In second place, we have Julian Cereceda. Yay, Julian. And in first place, we have Angela Heath. Yay, Angela. Back to you, contest master.
Perhaps we can have people unmute and give a round of applause.
Excellent idea.
The
You caught me before I could unmute myself and say it. Everyone,
silent applause is so tough, but
Way to go, Angela!
Excellent, excellent.
Congratulations.
Congratulations,
Everybody.
Everybody, thank you so much.
Congratulations.
congrats to all of the winners and all of the contestants. Again, I'm sure this was a difficult contest to judge.